wow, that game was madness for so many different reasons. Obviously, the final play right there. Man, this game was such a mess for so many different sides. It's so funny, looking at this game, since I'm a believer of both these teams. It's just like this game was both given and taken away by both teams, by both the Eagles and the Broncos. Really bad penalty calls on both teams, that shouldn't have been called on both sides. And when something like that happens, I really try to look at it individually. When there was clearly, like right now, right before this play, the missed pass interference call on Dallas Goedert. And you could say, okay, what about that? But then you can also say, what about Bond making, I know it was bang bang, but still a bad decision for unnecessary roughness, and then the bad penalty, and again that the Eagles caused themselves. It's on Philly, with the big throw, the big catch to Devontae Smith on 4th down, because Saquon Barkley wasn't set, and so you got to look at yourselves in those moments when the officiating is kind of messy on both sides, and the Broncos scoring 15 points in 5.5 minutes and then going for 2, right? Like it just changes everything. It changes everything. So this was a huge win and a great win for the Denver Broncos, and a really, really tough loss for the Philadelphia Eagles. I think it's if you're both teams right now, you could be obviously incredibly excited, but also frustrated, the way how some of this unfolded here. And to look at it through the lens of the Philadelphia Eagles right now, you got to be really frustrated about this. You could say, oh, what about the officiating? What about this? What about that? Shouldn't have unfolded the way it did. It should not have unfolded the way it did. Should have been able to maintain the driver's seat of this game. That's what it comes down to. I think Jalen Hurts played great. There was obviously the issue with the O-line. The Philadelphia Eagles could not run the ball. I mean, they just could not run the ball. Let me see what the final rushing yards here were. 6 carries for 30 yards. But then they also refused to hand the ball off. Obviously only the 6 carries. But like I said, Jalen Hurts played really well. 23 for 38, 280 yards, 7.4 yards per attempt, 2 touchdowns. The 6 sacks are a little tough because a couple of them were true sacks. A couple of the other ones were more of those like scramble ones. I think he probably really only had like 3 like actual sacks. The other ones were like right at the line of scrimmage when he was kind of scrambling and doing his magic. But Devontae, obviously really successful game, 8 receptions for 114. Saquon Barkley, that huge catch for his touch on the 47-yarder. Working Dallas and Calcaterra, who then obviously had to leave as well. But this was a game that the Eagles should have come away with, but then they also could not convert on 3rd down. 2 for 11. 2 for 11. And the Broncos ran 70 plays to the Eagles 55. It's hard. It's a hard one because the Eagles, obviously, you can't win every single game. And I think the Broncos are a great team. The Broncos could legitimately be undefeated right now as well. This could have been 2 undefeated teams going toe-to-toe. I think Bo Nix played great. Bo Nix had some huge throws. I think Sean Payton called a great game. And you mix in bizarre penalties on both sides for both teams, and you're just like, oh, wow, what the heck was this? And what it gets boiled down to is that the Broncos made the plays when it mattered most and when they needed it most. Right? I mean, they're on the road. They were going up against the undefeated Super Bowl champions, and they hang 15 points, including the 2-point conversion. Then they march down the field, kick a field goal to now make it a 4-point game. And the Eagles, in those moments when it was time to get the stops, when it was time to get off the field, they hurt themselves. And when they convert this huge 4th down, they hurt themselves. Like, that was them hurting themselves. And when you look at a team like the Kansas City Chiefs, when I know the Eagles love to be compared to the Kansas City Chiefs, the Chiefs have been able to win so many of these bizarre, weird, random games that just, the way how it unfolds, because they don't get that penalty on Zach Bond, right? They don't get that penalty on Devontae Smith. You're just like, oh my God, how did Mahomes find Devontae in that player, whatever it may be. And that's the difference. That's the difference. In a lot of ways, then I was curious to see, like, what do the Eagles have in this final minute now, right? They got no timeouts, 1 minute. What do they have? And I loved what I saw. Jalen Hurts came up with some big throws, the big throw to Dotson. Again, we could say, oh my gosh, but there was that it should have been, first and goal at the 5, 1 play to go. And you could say, yeah, that could be the case. Absolutely. But that would be the wrong takeaway. That would be the wrong takeaway, because you're always going to have a mixed bag of penalties. Honestly, you're always going to have a mixed bag of penalties. And like I said, from my viewpoint, watching this game, it seemed like both teams had just interesting penalty calls. We'll just say that, interesting penalty calls that both hurt and helped. I just think it makes more sense to look at it from a completely, like, what did you have in control? What did you have in control? And the fact that, they weren't able to really rely on the run game with any degree of consistency, and you hurt yourself with penalties. I think I think they said 5 pre-snap penalties, might have been 6, might have been 4, but enough to really hurt you. And in crucial key downs, that's what happens, man. That's what happens. So it's a tough loss. It's a tough loss and a huge win for the Denver Broncos. Denver Broncos, from my viewpoint, have proven themselves worthy of being a top team in the NFL, clearly. And I just think at the end of the day, you saw 2 great teams going head to head. That's honestly the way how I saw it. But there was moments when the Eagles were going to be able to put this game away, go up 3 scores, and then they just could not convert. And then things did feel kind of lazy, lackadaisical. And I think also right now, what this team doesn't know how to do is, in terms of closing out a team, especially in the fourth quarter, if they're not running the ball, then they don't have a lot of strong answers here. And I don't know if they really did as great of a job protecting Jalen Hurts, in terms of your O-line is messy right now. You're getting a ton of pressure on him. Let's get the ball out of his hands quickly. And there was plenty of times that then when he did have time in the pocket, nobody would be open. So you were just kind of caught in this no man's land. And again, I know Eagles fans are going to be upset about this loss. But this was obviously a very winnable game against a great team. And I think I don't want to say a wake-up call, but a good wake-up call in the sense of, you got to play higher quality ball. It's not a matter of got to get the passing game going, got to get the run game going. No, it's the operations. You can't have these penalties. You have to be able to execute at the highest level. And the Eagles showed that they were capable. Again, that throw to Devontae on 4th and 4, the 3rd and long throw to, I think it was also Devontae or AJ. I forget at this point. I mean, my notes are off to the side, right? The one that was ended up being the 3rd and 17, and then it was the pass interference to AJ Brown, and then they scored the touchdown. They went like 80 yards in 2 plays. Like, we know they're always capable of doing that. At least I know it. As much as people try to pretend like they can't, but you have to be able to execute. You can't get these penalties. You gotta be smart at the most crucial moments. So that's what I mean in terms of a wake-up call. That's my takeaway from the game right now. It'd be interesting to see what other people have to say. But handshake to the Broncos for not giving up, putting up the points when they needed to, converting the downs when they needed to, and they played smart ball. They executed. We're on the receiving end of some positive penalties, but all in all, made the plays. And tough break for the Eagles, big win for the Broncos. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Philadelphia Eagles coming up short against the Denver Broncos? And the Broncos now making a pretty big statement game, beating the undefeated Super Bowl champions on the road, comeback win in the fourth quarter. Doesn't get much bigger than that. Let's be serious here. Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.